Okay, so here's one of the first examples I want to do of things that I've learned today that I can decouple from the projects that I'm working on and just show you how do I solve this particular problem. So dynamic height scroll views. This becomes a real problem. There's a lot of information online on how to do this, and most of them are wrong. So let's say you need a scroll view, and within that scroll view, you have objects or views that need to be dynamic heights. It means that you don't know what their height's going to be when you create the interface. So we're going to use the text view, and let's say that text view is pulling in data from a database, and we don't know what that data is going to be. Maybe it's user generated, and it's going to be of different heights depending on how much text is coming from that database. So let's really quickly just throw in a scroll view. This is actually really easy to do. A lot of the examples I've seen online make this way more complicated than it needs to be. So yeah, scroll view first. All you need to do is to add your constraints, quickly add 0, 0, 0 to all sides of your view. Okay, so that's done. Next, you always want to add a content view. And the reason why we do this, it's just a view that takes up all the space. The reason why we do this is because the scroll view needs to know how tall is the content within it. And in order to do that, instead of having like a bunch of views that could conflict and cause issues, we just put all of the views inside of one parent view. And then we set the constraints to all sides to 0 for now. And then this view is then, we do a control click to our scroll view. You can see here the line, control click, add equal widths. That's important. Now, once that's set up, we're still see we're getting an error. Don't worry about that for right now. Next, we're going to add our content. And also, just really quickly, I like to change the name of this just so I don't forget that this is my content view. Okay, so now we will add our text view. Right here, just drop it in. I'm going to align it to the margins. So I'm just going to have it up here and take up as much as the default content is within there. Okay, now I'm going to take my content view and I'm going to position it so that it's directly within my interface builder of how tall that particular content is. So I'm just going to zoom in, make sure it's matching the margins exactly. It doesn't snap to the margins for some reason when you do that. But there we go. So let's just check our constraints right here. You can see they're all 8, which is good. I want to constrain to margins, set them all to 0, and there we go. Okay, so you can see we're still getting errors, and that's fine. So what we want to do next is we want to make sure that this doesn't have scrolling. So because it's set to scroll, it would expect to have an exact height on this particular box. But we want it to be dynamic and fit the content. So with text views, it's pretty easy. All you need to hit is scrolling enabled and turn it off. Okay, now usually, yeah, you still get some yellow because things are just off by a couple pixels. So I'm just going to update the frames so that it, matches what it's expecting. Mainly because it just needs a little bit more extra height on this for the padding that's natural within the text view. So you can see right now we've got no errors. Everything's working as expected. If I go ahead and go in and change this content, let's say I make it twice as long. Bam, you can see it automatically updates. The box changes its height to match its content. The content view matches its height to match what's within its bounds. And the scroll view stays the same. We always want it to be the height of its content. Just to show this working one more time, let's say we have content, because for scroll views, naturally, usually you have something that goes beyond the height of your screen. Let's say we have a screen that is taller than this and the content's being scrollable. So let's go ahead and let's go into here and set our simulated size to freeform, and let's just increase the height so that we get that. We can see our scroll view is automatically adapting to the height of that. And let's just add more content. Let's just copy this a couple times, and it's just going to update. Okay. There we go. And you can see we still got no issues. Even though the content goes below what I'm even looking at in the interface builder, I can increase the height even more and see the bottom. But let's just go back to fixed form. And this is what you see above the folds. We've got no errors. So let's run it really quick. Compile it and make sure that's working in the simulator. There we go. And you can see it scrolls, no issues. So that's how you do that. A lot of the tutorials that I see online, you actually set the height of the content view, and that always never works because when you have something that's dynamic, that becomes an issue. A lot of people will then go to code and use NS layout constraints to manipulate the height through that. Don't have to do all that. All you have to do is this. This is the easiest way to do it, and it works no matter how much content you've got inside of here. All right, thank you.